Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Thank you, intro guy, and thank you for everyone coming back for another edition of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, I am your wonderful host, Lee, and welcome back. And for anyone new, you're in for a wild ride. And what we'd like to do on this podcast is that we get into the news first, the big headlines for the past week, and then we get into reviews. There'll be one or two. This particular episode, we're looking at Belfast, as well as the Netflix TV series with Ricky Gervais, Afterlife. But as always, let's get into the news first because, there's been a bit, guys, going on, and, as we're gearing up, it's, ever since the start of the year, it's just been pumping out announcements left, right, and center. It's very hard to keep up. I'm like, oh, shit, there's just so much. But I've narrowed down to the big ones for you guys. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So first news that we got the past week was the fact that we got a new small trailer for a new Street Fighter 6. Trailer looks gorgeous, looks like the game. If it's anything going to be like the game, it's going to look fantastic. Which has been announced for release date of summer 2022 of this year. And Street Fighter is up to 7 with Tekken as well. And not to the degree of Mortal Kombat goes, but up there with Tekken. And it looks like it's going to be pretty good, and I can't wait to see if we get a full gameplay of this trailer. But gear up, guys, for any Street Fighter fans, because you're in store for this year. And more other news that we got was the rumor that the Call of Duty for this year will be pushed back to 2024, which to me, that is bloody fantastic. As it should be, because you need... As I was saying this a couple of weeks ago, is that there needs to be a break of Call of Duty. You need to recreate the demand for Call of Duty and that, not longing, but that desire that you do want another edition. Because with everything that's going on with obviously Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft purchasing them, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone up in the air. And for ages, especially because of the pandemic, what happened with Call of Duty Vanguard, which was shit. There's been a big call for Call of Duty to be pushed back and to give it more time for development, which, if these rumors are true, that is fantastic, and I completely support this. They need to give it more of a breather because the fact that you don't want another Vanguard. You need to rebuild that faith in the game and really make that here's a new Call of Duty. Oh my god, that's fantastic. No. Oh, look, it's another Call of Duty. Yeah, I'll pick it up. Yep, new stuff, new stuff, cool. Let's get into that. As well as, I'm still pretty sure that Warzone is still making bank, so they've got no short of coin. However, I didn't even know this until I was looking more deeper into it. It will actually break an 18-year streak from Activision from making Call of Duty games since 2005. Holy crap, that's a big streak, but it's not a streak that's it's been broken because of the fact that it's just completely going downgrade. I think with COVID, it has made a lot of things or errors come to light in multiple different aspects of different levels of business, and video games have obviously suffered from that as well. And Call of Duty is no cure, has not missed all that, as we saw with Vanguard. So, but I understand that they will still pump out some new content as well to bide you over. But Call of Duty is looking to be 2024, ladies and gentlemen. In other news, as this episode gets released, it's been announced the fact that all Marvel Netflix shows have left Netflix and will be on Disney Plus for March. Which is going to be very interesting to see what's that going to entail. Is this just placing on Disney Plus to have the whole collection? Or does this have another motive, the fact that here's all the collection and the fact that you got to gear up because the fact they're going to announce another season of Daredevil or more stuff will happen. So that's going to be interesting. Big recommendations, obviously, Jessica Jones, Season 1, 2. I haven't watched Season 3. Definitely also gear up for The Punisher Season 1. I didn't finish Season 2, but Punisher Season 1 is fantastic. And obviously the whole standard bearer across the board is Daredevil Season 1, 2, and 3. So definitely go check that out. Actually, all the seasons of Daredevil are fantastic. So you definitely need to put that on your radar to watch for any Disney Plus fans. But again, if you go to Disney Plus, you can have Netflix. Either way. Still sticking with the Marvel circle, which is really positive. Don't know if this is because of Doctor Strange 2. Let's keep that in mind. Ryan Reynolds has announced the fact that news of Deadpool 3 will be coming sooner than we expect, which is fantastic news, and I can't wait. I have this whole massive theory, the fact that what's actually going to happen is that he will be in Doctor Strange 2. However, the reason he gets into the MCU is because either he starts portal jumping after Doctor Strange goes through one, or he gets one of those sling rings, he picks it up and goes, I'm going to go through here, goes through and he plops into the MCU and he can't get back because obviously whatever's going to happen is going to cancel all the portals off to every multiverse. But the interesting thing is, that's my whole theory, is how he's going to be in the MCU and how he's still going to have all the knowledge from Deadpool 1, 2, because this obviously will be continuation, because this will be Deadpool 3. But I do know the fact, as you can see, I've written is that Ryan Reynolds, Kevin Feige are both chopping at the bit to let Deadpool be in the MCU, which to me, Deadpool 3 being the first mutant into the MCU, I think is a fantastic launching point, because the fact that he really, he deserves to have a Deadpool 3, and the type of character Deadpool is and how meta he is, and the fact that he'd be really good addition into the MCU, and a good launching point to start off with. But obviously with other characters, instead of going, hey, here's X-Men First Class 2, 2.0. Still continuing with Marvel, and speaking of Doctor Strange, which I didn't know this either, until someone pointed out, is that Doctor Strange 1 and 2 is actually the longest gap between Marvel sequels of a particular trilogy. Which will be the gap between Doctor Strange 1 and Doctor Strange 2 is 5 years and 125 days, because Doctor Strange 2 came out in 2016. Now look, you can completely be excused on why there's been such a long gap, because I don't know, there could have been like some kind of Infinity War or Endgame that kind of happened in between that kind of took precedence, So, and obviously most of all, this movie has been delayed as well. So that's why that is the biggest gap. And to me, I was talking to a bloke the other day, he had not seen Doctor Strange, and he's not really big on the Marvel movies. And he said to me, what do you recommend? And I said, look, because he obviously heard the fact Doctor Strange 2 is coming out. He's like, sure, I watched the first one. I haven't seen it. And I was like, no, definitely go watch Doctor Strange, because the fact it's a very self-contained story, and just as a movie standpoint, it is very visually stunning and holds that bar above nearly all the Marvel movies at this stage. It's right up there as one of the most visually, Scott Derrickson and Bennett Cumberbatch did a fantastic job on that first movie, which is why there's so much hype, not only because of all the cameo city that could be happening, but because of the nature of Doctor Strange and how out of world this is going to be because of what he can do compared to, Hawkeye, and compared to, Spider-Man and Daredevil, stuff like that. Well, actually, no, Spider-Man No Home, I guess, kind of beat that whole point I just mentioned. So, and small characters, ground level characters. And the fact that, this is leading into straight with Loki and Wanda as well. It's just going to blow your freaking mind. I'm so excited. But definitely, if you haven't watched Doctor Strange and you're not a big Marvel person, that's fine. But I would, even if you don't watch any other Marvel movies and you're just looking for just a visually stunning superhero movie that it's not connected to a whole lot of things, I'd still highly recommend it. Moving on, we've also got the fact that I couldn't believe this when I read it. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you bloody hell? So, yep. For any 90s kids, obviously myself, is that they're going to be at Paramount Studios, they're going to be developing a Beyblade movie. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a Beyblade movie. Let it rip! So for anyone who doesn't know what Beyblades are, it's the same thing with like Tarzos. Well, back in the day, you packet of chips and you used to get a Beyblade, and then they used to fight each other. Then there was a cartoon where like monsters would slowly come out when they were versing each other. But yeah, you used to have like the toy of like the dome that you could let it rip, and they would go start spinning and try and fight each other, and you could customize it. Look, if you do have a second, go look it up, and you'll be completely surprised the fact that they're making this movie. And it just goes to show that almost they're running out of ideas. Movie companies are running out of ideas to make movies. Like, they're not going with original content ideas. How about you go make a full-fledged, really dedicated Dragon Ball Z movie? That would be nice. Or a Digimon movie. Or if you make a sequel to Detective Pikachu, any of this, so I keep telling my mates, I'm like, I should be in the movie industry for for Warner Brothers. Actually, no, if I was working for Warner Brothers, I'd be like, just give me the DC universe, because the fact that you do nothing and you're ruining it, and you're all hopeless, and you're all a bunch of kiss asses and know nothing. For Disney and Marvel, there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I can add to Kevin Feige. The man is simply a god, and I will follow that man to the ends of the earth. But for like Paramount, anything else, like, let me be up there. I'll tell you what to make, what to invest in, and if you want to go to $1 billion, hire me right now. Put my resume out there. I'm fantastic, and if you want to make money, I am right here. But yes, they are making a Beyblade movie in development with Jerry Bruckheimer. I'm like, really? Like, Jerry Bruckheimer, like, he did like he does action movies. So surprised the fact that he has gone on board to be into this movie. But hey, look, can't be the judge just yet until we see a trailer, which I'll probably be like, oh my god, or I'll be like, this looks effing terrible. But we'll find out, won't we? No release date, just been announced. The fact it's in development, so it could be about 3 years off from when it will come out. Also, we got a little bit. Now, this was interesting. Now, I don't know what's with this day and age with things being dug up, or bad things come up from years and years ago. So apparently, Vanity Fair has announced the fact that Charlize Theron did a whole talk on the fact that she felt very unsafe on site and very walking on thin ice with Tom Hardy on there working on Mad Max, and said the fact they had a little bit of fight, a little bit of tiff, and they needed a mediator as well. I was like, when I read it, I'm like, okay, this is in the news, but why? Mad Max came out years ago. There was, why are you bringing up this now? Are you trying to be like, I need to tell my old story of how horrible was it? Like, why don't you bring this up like a year after the movie came out? Like, don't dwell on it. Don't bring up dirt for so many later just because you feel like saying it. It's like, what? I don't understand why you bring it up now. And obviously, the media is obviously going straight into this and looking at this and the fact that, the bad light of anything that comes into this. But yeah, apparently they did not like each other on set, and it was very intense. But you heard nothing. You heard nothing when the movie got released. But look, I just hope the fact that whatever animosity between Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, that's all simmered down, and they're still in a working colleague kind of way, because I understand these movies can be very intense to make, the schedule, everything, but it's your craft. It's it's not just a job, but there's a level of how you should conduct yourself on set, which anything you've seen how Christian Bale was on set with Terminator Salvation. Definitely go check it out. Definitely go check out the Family Guy version as well. And obviously how Tom Cruise was on set as well with his COVID thing a few months ago. So, look, each to their own. But yeah, that's apparently they really, really did not like each other at all. Also want to do a little tidbit with the fact that definitely go check out Mark My Words. He's done a video review of Horizon Zero Dawn. Forbidden West, definitely go check that out for him. He's doing fantastic. Love the review. The game's not my cup of tea, but it's doing fantastic. Reviews are quite solid, but there's a couple of bugs to it, but definitely go check it out. I'm currently still playing Evil Genius 2. I'm still trying to clock that in the everything else trying to do in my life. But from Doctor Strange. Evil Genius 2, I'll be working my way onto the new Jurassic Park game because I'm a big Jurassic Park fan and big city building aspect. So that is my next schedule. So I will have later on a Jurassic Park review at some point. I do hope to bring to you guys. But yeah, definitely check my words. Man's doing a great job. You need to follow him if you haven't already. He's almost my running mate. Like, me and him, we're just trying to do our very best to bring you guys the content and create that community and talk about all this stuff and find like-minded people. I do like seeing the comments when someone does agree with me on certain things. I do like comments when people disagree because it creates a conversation. Like, why didn't you like this? Why didn't you like that? However, when I see anyone diss the Dark Knight trilogy, I'm like, delete. Nah, you can't speak anything about that. But it's very interesting to see, just a different side of things, and especially with Uncharted. That was interesting as well to see people's different perspectives on that as well. Also, speaking as well as definitely things to go check out, this past week I had a bonus episode of the Missing DCEU films. Definitely go check that out because what we do, well, I did, sorry. I looked at the entire of the DCEU slate and I categorized all the movies that we were meant to get, that were not just, this is rumored to be in development, it was announced that we will be getting it. And Warner Brothers lied to us because they can't get their shit together. And we got the DCEU right now. But look, definitely check the bio, definitely go check that out. But let me know what you thought, especially on the DC ones, is how many of those movies did you actually want to see? So, that's all the news I got you for right now. So let's get into 2 reviews. So, these next 2 films, film and TV show, were recommended to go see with my old man. Would not been my first pick. Afterlife, he's been bugging me ages to watch it, and he wanted to go see Belfast because Belfast came out as well. And he wanted to go see it, so I said, look, I'll go definitely see it with you. Now, Belfast is definitely not my type of movie to go see. So what it's based on, Kenneth Branagh is the director of this movie, and it's about a family set in 1969, Northern Ireland, when all the riots were going on with the Protestants versus the Catholics, and there was riots in the streets. Not a very positive time at all to be living in Ireland. And Kenneth Branagh, this is actually based on his experience as a child. So it's a very personal story that he has written for this movie. And what it is, it's obviously it's about a whole family, but the perspective is just from this little kid who's experiencing all this for the first time and just seeing with his family, his dad's away for work and everything that's going on. And look, when you do watch it, it's a very surreal kind of thing that's what life was at that time. That, your neighbors at any point could, come riding down the street, wanting to attack, blow up a car, smash a window, riot. It could be your friend, it could be your neighbor, it could be the guy that you work with. Like, that's such a unsettling feeling that some people, obviously myself and, in Australia, that you don't have that feeling, obviously depending where you live, and just the fact that, we haven't experienced something like that similar. I'm talking like just the guy across the road, or the guy just next to you. Could at any point just be like, no, you know what, you're this, you're that, I don't like it, I'm gonna, you need to stand together, be together. But this movie really conveys that, and you do really feel for them. So this movie is also black and white. So it starts off in color, showing you Ireland, and then when it gets into the story, it goes black and white, which is done very, very good. And visually, obviously with black and white, it can, sometimes it can look really good, but the lighting and everything, how he shot this, has done very well. But at the very start, all the kid's doing is he's just running down the street. He's just having a lot of fun. And I think this is one of the best camera angles that we did see in the movie, was that the kid's just playing down the street and suddenly he hears all this noise. He's staying in the middle, there's people either side, and he's just standing there, and then all these riders come. And all these riders are coming, they're throwing Molotov cocktails, they're yelling out. But the interesting thing is that he's standing there, and as the crowds are, everything's going on, people are panicking, the camera does a full 360 of this kid, and you see that on his face, just like, oh my god, what is happening? But everyone's freaking out, and they're getting closer. They're marching one by one, and lucky enough, the mum saves him before it gets too good. But the interesting thing is you just see that 360 of his just expression, what's going on. It doesn't cut angle. It's one shot, and it's really good to see. So the cast did very well. The kids done very well. The family, the grandparents, all the casting is on point and great performances. And every time I see a kid actor, I'm like, God, I wish I could act good at your age. Like your careers are right ahead of you. As well as with I forgot her name. Oh my god, I just saw it. I just saw it just earlier. Daphne Keane. Sorry, not Daphne Keane. Daphne from Logan. She did a fantastic as X-23, and I really wish the fact that she was getting her own movie, because she do fantastic. If you haven't gone and seen Logan, go watch it. Even if you're not a comic book fan, it is a great tale. But back to the movie. So this kid did really well in this scene, and the movie does it very well on conveying at the time the intensity, uncertainty, and as a family, what it's all like. And obviously, as the movie progresses, the dad gets an offer, the fact that he has a new house, a new work opportunity in London, and the conflict is the fact that the mum wants to stay because they know their friends, they know the family. Everybody knows when you walk down the street, you got so much to play, but when you go somewhere new, people might not like you, or you won't have that room, which is the same thing when you do move anywhere, depending where or distance, especially if you move to a different country. But in that time, it was hard because of the fact that you don't know, you can't trust your neighbor. You can't trust who you go to work with. I can't imagine, but that's a very intense feeling. So Kenneth Branagh did a very good job with this movie. It's a very touching tale and a very surreal tale on everything that's going on. And you can tell the fact that he's done a very personal thing into this story. And it's also been nominated for Best Picture. It has won a couple awards. And I fully agree with the fact that if this won Best Picture, I'd be like 100% is well deserved. Not like Don't Look Up. That does not deserve to be in contended for the Best Picture. But this movie does really good. So if you like history pieces, if you like to see, obviously there's something a little more down to earth, more that real factor, obviously not comic book, not superhero, nothing like, not horror. This does a really good job, and you feel for the kid and the family all the way through. And obviously, spoiler alerts, the family does eventually move and they do settle a new life. But the struggle leading up to that is conveyed very well, and the supporting cast do a fantastic job. So I definitely recommend it. It is up on their Lights Camera Rant. Definitely go check if you would like a different movie and a little bit more of a history, and just to see how things were back in there. Because you can read about them, but when you see photos, videos, and movies, you're just like, oh my god, I can't imagine that. Like that's such a surreal thing. Like if you had to do that to your family, and we have it so good. So definitely recommend it. Moving on to the next. So Afterlife. So my old man loves the show. He's been telling me to watch it. And I said to him, now look, after Peacemaker finished and after Mandalorian. There you go, the Mandalorian. Not the Book of Boba Fett, but the Mandalorian. After the Book of Boba Fett was finished, I said to him, look, I'll definitely go watch it. I'll watch the first couple episodes and see how you go, because they only go for 30 minutes each, and each season's about 10 episodes, about 9 episodes long, because there's 18 episodes. It's about 7 episodes long, because there's only 18 episodes, 3 seasons. And so I thought, I'll watch this. And this is directed, created, written, starring Ricky Gervais. And it's on Netflix. It's streaming it right at the moment. And season 3, the last season, came out in January this year. So what it's about is that his character's name's Tony, and what he's dealing with is that his wife's passed away because of breast cancer. And what he's got he's taken lots of videos of her during their marriage as well, all the way towards the very end. And what he's doing is that he's watching these videos and he's struggling the fact that he doesn't want to live. He doesn't want to keep going because of the fact his wife isn't there, the love of his life, and everything around him just shit because he works at a local newspaper, and he gets to come and go when he wants because his brother-in-law runs it, which was his wife's brother, and he's just really hating life, and he doesn't care who he upsets or what he does. Now, in perfect Ricky Gervais style, and this the interesting thing is I watched the first 2 episodes and I really got into it, and I really got into it, and I watched the entire 3 seasons and I smashed it out. Now the interesting thing about the show is the fact that at one moment you're laughing, 2 seconds later you're feeling it. It's really sad. It's a very sad moment because he wants to commit suicide. He doesn't want to go on. He doesn't believe life's worth going on. And the only reason what you find out is the fact that he's got a pet dog, and he doesn't. The only reason he's staying alive is because of his dog, which is really sad. Oh, well, no. So it's good that he's staying alive for his dog, but there are a couple of moments where he does look like taking his life. So it's very real. It's very confronting at that point. The fact that he doesn't want to commit suicide. He does come very close a couple of times in the show, but the fact that his brother-in-law Matt is really trying to show him that there is a life after. There is an afterlife after his wife passes away. And as the episode goes on, there's a lot of spoilers, and as it's all going on, the fact that he tries going on a date, goes horribly, he tries and does the right thing by everyone else around him, but he, at the very start, he's very emotionally crippled by the whole thing, and you feel for him, because you do look at it and go, a person that you love so much, the person you married, you had, this is everything you were going to do, and the fact that, they're the whole world, and then they're suddenly gone, like, what's, the whole message of the thing is, what's the point of going on? If he didn't have the dog, he probably most likely would have killed himself, and he would have been happy. And Ricky Gervais does a fantastic job, acting-wise, on conveying all the emotions, how he's feeling, how he really doesn't care who he offends or anything like that, because he's like, what's the point? He was happy, like, if I get hit tomorrow, done. All right, I'll be with his wife, Lisa. So every episode majority of episodes does open with him looking at different videos and reflecting on his past, as well as seeing his dad in an old folks home, which unfortunately has Alzheimer's, so he goes in, and every time, to make it worse, every time he goes to see him, he's like, oh, where's Lisa? And he's like, my God, F me. It's really funny, but it's a very surreal show, and it does make you feel a lot, because of the different scenes that you do see. So, but the interesting thing is, like, I found myself pissing myself laughing, and I found myself really, really sad, hugging my partner and hugging my dog, going, for you guys, please never leave me, ever. And my dog's looking at me going, get off me, what is wrong with you? I want to be fed. He's actually currently looking at me right now going, I know you're talking about me. I'm like, yes I am, Parker. But you do, this show does very well. It's definitely full of laughs, but it's definitely a real, punch in the guts to you. If you do have a dog, and obviously if you're married and a partner, but it's episodes only go for 30 minutes or so, so you can definitely binge it if you do want, but it is very worth it. My old man's, I think he's on his 3rd run through, he can't stop laughing at it, and I found myself pissing myself as well, and then the next episode was really sad. But Ricky Gervais has done very good on this, and all the supporting cast is fantastic. Like, there is, what's his name? Brian, played by David Earl, who's constantly going on about how his wife left him for another man, and all his jokes are really bad because he can't get over it. He can't get over it, and he can't put a good joke. He just wants to be friendly, and he's become a hoarder. Like, he's fully broken. And you can tell he's just broken because his wife's left him for another man in this small little town. But as the series progresses, Ricky Gervais' character, definitely gets out of his shell. He starts helping everyone around him more because each person helps him. He also goes and visits his dead wife's grave very often. And what he does, he meets a lady there who her name's Anne, and her husband's grave's right next to his wife, and they sit down, and she gives him kind of levity about everything going on and what she's going through. She's a lot older, but just the fact that she helps him as well. So everyone really helps him along the way, but his brother-in-law, Matt, is the one who's trying to do the most to help him because he wants him out of the funk. He doesn't want him to go away because, in fact, Lisa wouldn't have wanted this, and it gets, overall, fantastic show. Won't spoil it overly too much. I definitely recommend it. Comedy on point, acting on point, great British drama, and comedy as well. But just going to keep in mind the fact that it does, at one point, you will be laughing. Next point, you most likely will be sad or crying. It's a great show. And if you're looking for something different, and if you do like Ricky Gervais's comedy, and if you're looking for something a little bit more real, I highly recommend it. It's fairly different to, obviously what I've been watching lately with Peacemaker and the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Mandalorian. It's very different. Definitely almost the complete other spectrum of the entire TV show. And it was for me, I found it very refreshing to watch and just, obviously see something a little different, with all the special effects. But don't get me wrong, I still felt for Peacemaker. John Cena did a great job, and there are scenes in there where you just feel for him, But this show hits it a little bit differently. It is funny as all hell, and everyone who appears on it does a fantastic job. It only goes for 3 seasons, and the ending was gut-wrenching. I had to, no, he doesn't die. Spoiler, he doesn't die, but just the way it happens, it does leave you with a giant question mark of what's going to happen next. And I found myself Googling going, I need answers right now. But, the shows did very well. 6 episodes per season. This started in 2019. And, it has won awards as well. And, so if you're looking for something a little bit more real, if you're looking for something real, just that different aspect, but you want to laugh, I highly recommend it. I loved it, point to point. And look, if my old man's listening, you were right, all right? I loved it. I should have listened to you straight away. Same thing when Mark was recommending Invincible and The Boys. I really should take these recommendations straight on. However, I did watch Don't Look Up, and I'm like, wow, that was poorly. That was a terrible movie. But then again, that wasn't a recommendation. I just saw it because I wanted to see what this was all about. But basically, I need to take these recommendations on, and I need to watch them a lot sooner. However, then again, if I watch it sooner, at least all 3 seasons are out right now. So, Belfast, you want a real history, and, obviously down to earth, and some great directing techniques. Recommend it. Best Picture candidate, my vote. And if you're looking for something very serious, but at the same time you want to laugh, I recommend Afterlife. Both fantastic. And guys, so tell me, have you watched Belfast? Have you watched Afterlife before? Did you like it? Were you sad? Did you cry? Which one in between? Please definitely let me know in the comments. And guys, let me know what you think. Are these shows you definitely going to watch? Or look, Lee, just go back to superhero genre and stuff like that. That's why I'm here to party. That's why I'm here to listen. But if you're partying too, listening to this, fantastic. You can do an overlay of techno music. I don't really have the voice for anything like that. But if you are, good for you. Please don't send me it. But just let me know in the comments, guys. Did you guys enjoy these things? Have you watched them? What is your best? What do you think should be best picture of last year? And look, guys, Thank you very much for joining me this episode. Definitely tune in for next week, because this week I'll be seeing The Batman. And if you've been listening to most episodes, you'll know how I feel. And I'm going to give you my full review on this. And I can't wait to see it and what it's going to be like. And until next time, guys, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.